and hopefully my children will not scream this whole time. So let's go ahead and kick off. I'm going to introduce myself, and each person, I know Cece's going to talk and Jen's going to talk, and they'll introduce themselves. But thank you guys so much for coming on tonight. I'm so excited to see, like I said, new faces that I have not seen, and see faces of coaches that were visiting other islands and made me sad that I was not with them. I was so excited. I don't know if you guys were following Jen or Cece this past week, but they got the opportunity to travel with coaches. That's one of the perks of being a coach. Is some opportunities to travel, and they got to go to the Virgin Islands and just enjoy all of that and enjoy being together. So I was very excited to see them doing that and wish I could have been there too. But I am Danielle Porter. For those that don't know me, I am a military spouse and a mother of two. I live in Hawaii. So while I was very jealous of Jen and Cece on their island, I just decided I would live it up on my island, which is not a sad place to be at all. But I have been a coach for 7 years. I am the leader of an elite team, Team Nourish, and I know Carrie is on here tonight, and I think a couple others will be watching the replay. But I just have absolutely loved coaching. This is not something I thought I would end up doing. It was not on my radar at all. My profession was actually in graphic design far before I ever even considered doing this. And it's funny, I don't know that I've told this story recently, but I was actually asked to be a coach back in 2007, 2008 by a guy that I went to college with. He was a baseball player. We were really good friends. And he was like, this was back in the days of AOL Instant Messenger. So it's been a while, but he messaged me one day. He's like, I just think you would be an amazing coach and blah, 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 blah. And I laughed in his face. I thought that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. At the time, morbidly obese, like just totally was like, I thought he was kidding. I was like, Brad, that's the most crazy thing I've ever heard. Laughed at him. He's like, no, really, I think you'd be amazing at this. Cut to, 7 years later at that point. Yeah, 2014 was when I signed up to be a coach. I actually messaged him in 2016 while I was sitting in Summit, and I was like, man, I wish I had done this a long time ago. I cannot believe I laughed at you and told you no, and just all the things. I told him, I'm sorry. You saw something in me that I definitely was not at a place to see in myself. But I firmly believe in divine timing. And so I just think that I wasn't ready yet, and so I had to get to a place where I was ready. And so in 2014, I had my daughter, and I was not in a very good place. Honestly, I was very heavy. I did not feel good in my skin. I had always been heavy. As a teenager, I started dieting at 14 and really had no real concept of what healthy was. I just thought healthy meant skinny. I really didn't know. But in 2014, sorry, there's people popping in. You're talking, popping in. It's all the things. Yeah, I just was at a very bad place in my life, and I had my daughter. She was 8 weeks old, and I had these panic attacks and these horrible moments where I was like seeing her life as my life, and I did not want that for her. I didn't want the self-deprecating humor. I didn't want the poor body image. I didn't want the association that I had of exercise as punishment and food as something that comforted me and that kind of thing. I really wanted her to have a healthier life. And so I confided into a friend. I didn't think anything of it. And she just told me very simply, if you don't like who you are right now, your daughter's 8 weeks old. She doesn't know you. Just change, just do something different. And so that opened up an entire new door for me. And she had just finished, and she wasn't trying to sell me anything. She wasn't trying to do anything. She was just responding to my concern of my daughter. And she had just finished P90X3. So that was the new program in 2014. And she looked great. She had lost weight. And she was like, I'm just starting out hosting these online clean eating groups. You should join me for one. So I brought it to my husband because I was, really hoping he would talk me out of it. Like I do with everything. Everything I'm always like, I'm going to go talk to my husband. And what I'm really hoping is that Matt will be like, no, we can't do that. And he has never once said no. So I don't know why I tell people that, but that was the truth. And he was like, that sounds amazing. Let's do that. He had just gotten news that his blood pressure was super duper high. He's really fit it. He's in the army. He runs like a crazy person, but he's internally really unhealthy. And so he was like, this would be great. We can clean up our eating. My blood pressure maybe will get better. I won't have to go on meds at 32. This will be a good thing for us. And so I was like, all right, we'll do it. So I signed up, lost 35 pounds in the first 10 weeks, really regained this sense of energy and clarity in my life. And I felt really, really, really good. But I really didn't see myself doing anything with it. I just thought, yay, lost some weight. That was really good. And then we had moved to Tennessee and I had given up my career. That was a big thing for me. I'd gone at that point, I had regained this vigor for life and this interest in nutrition. And I went back to school, got my nutrition degree, and really didn't know what to do. And so I was going to go to the bank and get a business loan. I was going to open up my nutrition counseling practice. And I just felt this whisper that was like, no, don't put your family in thousands and thousands of dollars worth of debt. Like this isn't what you should be doing. And again, confided in a friend, and she was like, but you're already a Beachbody coach. And I was like, well, yeah, but that's just, that's nothing. That's just, something I do for me. And she was like, no, that can be a career. That can be what you do. You just pay forward the experience that you have in I call it a boot camp now, but a wellness studio, an accountability group, whatever you want to call it. In that group, you just pay that forward to other people and you coach them via the group. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can do this. And I did. I leaned in, I did the trainings that our team offers. I started a business with this instead of it just being something that I got a discount for. And I know we'll talk a little bit about the different types of coaches, but that's what I did. And so 7 years later, here we are as an elite coach in the top 300 of the entire company. I've met two of my best friends in the entire world through this, traveled the globe. Like it really was never something that I saw happening to me. I really just thought I was going to do a workout program and maybe lose some weight and maybe my daughter wouldn't see me as a heavy mom, And so it really was kind of amazing that all of that happened. And that's kind of what my topic is. I know Jen's going to talk a little tonight. Cece's going to talk a little tonight, but my topic is really mostly about what is a coach and what does a coach do? And guys, it's really like, I feel like there should be PowerPoints and slideshows and like all this stuff. But guys, coaching is really nothing more than saying, I'm doing this and I want to pay it forward to you. And so I'm going to share my journey and I'm going to share my knowledge and invite you into a community that we have built so that you can have the accountability too. That's literally all it is. And your business grows from there. We have all the trainings. We've taken the time to put those together. We do weekly calls. We do all kinds of things to equip you, but the bare bones of it is really just you being on your journey and then sharing that with other people. And I know a lot of times people get really like spun up about, well, that sounds really nice for you, but like I'm not a salesperson, or I don't have a big social media following, or I don't know what I'm doing with any of this. I mean, if it makes you feel any better, none of us did. When we started, none of us had any clue. All we knew was that we were seeing success with the programs that we were doing. Other people were noticing, we were sharing it out loud, and we were bold enough to say, hey, you can do this too. It's not just for me. We have an opportunity for you to do this too. And so my answer to people who are like, I'm not a salesperson, I'm not either. 7 years as a coach, there has not been a single day where I've felt like a salesperson. If I feel like I'm selling somebody something, I'm not doing it right, because there's a difference between sales and service. And this is like, and I realize there's lots of different teams and lots of different team cultures, but I know for a fact I speak for Cece and I speak for Jen, and I know I speak for my team in the fact that we don't lead with products first. That's never been our business model. We may use a product, there may be a point of sale, but that's no different than anywhere else. I just took my kids to the dentist yesterday, and God almighty, my daughter has 4 cavities. And at the end, I know, Cece, you're like, oh, I know. 4 cavities. I'm like, do not brush your teeth, child. Oh, worse than that. That's no good. I don't know. I think it's genetics. We're blaming my husband. I'm going to blame my husband for all of it. It's his genetics, his teeth. I have lovely teeth. But at the end of that appointment, I went up to the front desk And they gave me a bill and they told me that I owed money, even though there was insurance, even though there was all the things. I had to write a check or swipe my card for the cost that insurance didn't pay. That doesn't mean that my dentist sold me fillings. They're providing a service for a need that I have, but there's a point of sale. They're not going to say, like, if I chose not to pay for that, they choose not to do the fillings. Same thing in coaching. There is a point of sale in which people have to purchase a package, an enrollment kit, things, an equipment package, but that translates into the service that we're able to provide, the need that we're able to help them fill. So maybe that's weight loss. Maybe that's, from there's several of the ladies in my group that weight loss isn't their thing. They need chronic pain management, like Cece. They need to, like my husband, not be on blood pressure medicine at 32. There are lots of different ways that those needs can be filled, but we provide the equipment, the toolbox, and the accountability, which is my favorite part. And really, if I could call myself something, and I think that cheapens what we say when I say, like, I'm your ultimate accountability partner, but that's really what we do. We facilitate communities for accountability. And I think a lot of people get tripped up in, well, I don't know how to do that. Well, none of us did. That's why you shadow us. You come into our communities. You are in the boot camp. Many of you, either on the call or watching the call, are people who have been in our boot camps already, or our wellness studios, or whatever everyone calls them. That's not for nothing. You're getting that is real life training in there. And so you bring people into our communities and we coach them as a team, or you go and start your own. I have several of my coaches. Carrie is one of them on this call. Carrie runs her own boot camp. She, learned from the trainings that we provide, and then she went out and started her own. We equip you for that. We're not just gonna be like, all right, good luck, we love you, bye-bye. And so that's something that we fully equip you to do. And that's pretty much what a coach is and what a coach does. We share, like I said, social media. We train you in how to do that. Not all businesses are built on social media. So if that's something that you're like, oh, that's my real holdback point, there's lots of ways to do this in person, through emails and stuff like that as well. And we also have if you're in our boot camps, you might already know, but we also have a platform that's off of social media where you're able to interact. It's called a bod group, and you're able to have your groups there as well. So that's an option too. But I don't want to take up much more time because I know I want Jen and Cece to have plenty of time too. So Jen is going to talk to you guys about what the financial aspect of this is, like how do you make money and so on. So, and introduce yourself, Jen.
Hey guys, I I am Jen Hines. I'm super excited to be here. I am 47 years young. Cece and I are still recovering from St. Croix. It's taking us a little bit of time to recover from that, especially the hike. If you guys saw us on our hike, it was kind of crazy. But I am a physical therapist. I have my doctoral degree in physical therapy, and I still work full time, and I'm building a successful business in the pockets of time that I have. So one of the one of my biggest things that I told my coach, who happens to be my sister-in-law, I told her no so many times because I was so busy, right? I was so busy, I couldn't fit this in. And it's actually the thing that gave me life and brought me back to life. And I work 40 plus hours for my full-time job, and I work this business in the pockets of time, and I teach my coaches to do the same. And if you have more time than that, then maybe you get further ahead more quickly. But just know that you don't need a ton of time to do this when you're first getting started. Obviously, the ones that are hosting this call, we do spend more time than you would do getting started because we're 5, 6, 7 years in. But I will tell you that when I was first getting started and with coaching, I started as a challenger too. I told my coach no forever until she asked me to help her with her group because I'm always a person that's going to help everybody else. I'm pouring into, at least I used to be pouring into everybody first, and my own cup was depleted, more than empty. But when my sister-in-law asked me to help her with her group, I'm like, well, of course, because that's who I was back then. So I told her yes. And as part of that, I started diving into my own fitness and nutrition journey. And I was in a really dark place. I was in a super dark place, very depressed, working my full-time job in my office, very high-level leadership position. And I would come home, guys, and I would either cry myself to sleep in my bed before dinner, yell at my kids, or snap at my husband. I was just not in a great place at all. But show up at work with a smile on my face and was faking it, right? Because I was pouring into every single person but myself. My cup was like depleted. And I wasn't the wife my husband deserved, and I certainly wasn't the mom that my kids deserved. But what I found is that as I started doing these 30-minute workouts and paying attention to what I was feeling my body with and leaning into the community, and then also working, making sure I was putting good stuff in my mind, I started to come out of that depression, and I started to lose the weight. And like Danielle said, people started to pay attention and ask me what I was doing. And that's when I fell in love with coaching. Because when you change a mama, when you change a woman, you're going to change the whole trajectory and possibly her family if she is a mom. And it's a really powerful thing. But I will say that, I did look into some other options because I was in a huge funk. I was in healthcare. And if you are in healthcare or experienced healthcare, you know how much it's changed. So I had looked at other options. I had looked at possibly doing health coach certifications. I had looked at opening up a brick and mortar PT practice, and they were really, really pricey. So when I had the opportunity to get into this business that also gave me my own fitness and nutrition and coach and community for less than $200, I was like, that's kind of a no-brainer. Because like some of the life coaching things and the health coaching things, I mean, that was like $7,000, and then to open up a PT practice was like 6 figures just to walk in the door. That didn't include like equipment and paying somebody and insurance and all that stuff. So you guys, let's dive into the financial part of this. So I'm going to share my screen here in a second when Danielle gives me the ability to share that. But there is a monthly fee to be a coach. If you have any sort of military affiliation, then that coaching fee is waived. And I kind of describe the coaching fee as your human resources and customer service department for your business. It also gives you a 25% discount. But like when I was looking at a PT practice, I was like, who's going to answer the phones? Who's going to handle my billing? Who's going to be able to run reports? Like I was looking at all of these different things that I was going to have to handle. And for $15.95, $16 a month, you have this amazing customer service department and human resources department that allows you to do all of that. If you have, again, any military affiliation, then that fee is waived as a thank you for your service or your spouse's service. And Danielle can answer any questions in the chat about that that you might have. And then we're typically going to get you enrolled with an enrollment bundle, guys. We're going to get you started with your package to start your journey, because most of you have been following us on social media and you see that we have a story. We have had some sort of transformation inside to out with these programs and with some of these products. And we want you to experience that first. We want you to experience that in addition as you're starting to talk to people, because if you're not doing the fitness and nutrition you're trying to have somebody else do, you're not going to be as confident in it. So Danielle, am I able to share my screen? Give me, yep, okay. I'm just going to share I'm a visual person, guys, so I'm going to try to, let's see if I can find this real quick. Where did it go? I had too many things open on my screen. Here it is. So I'm a visual person. So your enrollment bundle is going to include 12 months of access. Can you guys see this? Okay. No, you cannot see this. Okay. Hold on. Let me share again. That's not what I wanted. Bear with me, guys. It's not letting me share this. Now? Yes, okay. So your enrollment bundle includes 12 months of access to over 800 workout programs. So that alone is a crazy bananas deal. You also get 2 detailed nutrition programs that I almost call courses, because they're short 25 to 30 minute videos, 25 to 30 videos. They're really short that teach you nutrition, that really teach you how to properly fuel your body without deprivation and restriction. You also typically with one of our groups get weekly or monthly meal plans. You get in-depth mentorship and team trainings. You get access to our boot camps and wellness studios. You get our mindset and self-care tools and trainings. You get a nutrition tracker. You get portion control containers. You get your choice of a month of our superfood smoothie or our protein shake and pre-workout. All of us call it like mom crack or go-go juice or different terms for that. But you guys, this month alone, and I'm thinking that it's probably going to carry into May, you can get started with this for $140. It's normally $160. Some of us may still have promo codes to get you started even cheaper than that. But this is an investment in your own personal journey. 12 months of access to everything, including our mentorship for $140, is bananas to be able to start a business. So I don't know what other business out there that has this type of mentorship and training and package that you can start for $140. And again, the person that you're talking to may have some promo codes to get that even more deeply discounted, but it's just bananas, the value that you get for this bundle. Now let's talk about the fun stuff. So, and meditations. Thank you. Yes, we also have meditations now too, which is just, yes, we have workouts anywhere from like meditations to yoga to Tai Chi to Pilates to bar to high intensity interval training, where most of us are doing this really fun dance workout now. There is lifting, shadow boxing, mixed martial arts workouts, you name it. We're getting ready to branch into offering more cycling type things, just lots and lots of options for fitness that you can do at home, or you can take with you to a gym or to a park or whatever. We have a BOD app where you can take your workouts and stream them without Wi-Fi and do them while your kids are playing soccer. And you can take our workouts into the gym and use the equipment and get out of the house, put the kids in daycare if the daycares are open, and follow a program that's going to get you results. But let's talk about money. We talked about the monthly fee, which can be waived with the military affiliation. We've talked about the enrollment bundle. So let's talk about the ways that you earn. So we can earn an income with this business in 3 different ways. The first way is commission. So when you enroll with that bundle or you enroll somebody with that bundle, you will get a commission based off of that bundle. And then as your clients start trying like the superfood smoothie, or they tried mom crack, or maybe they want to do a 3-day cleanse after, to get ready for a wedding, or maybe they fall in love with our healthy snack bars, you're going to continue to earn commission on whatever products, services, programs they decide to continue on. And then as you start to dive into building a team of just 2 people, then you start tapping into what we call our team cycle bonus. So then you start being able to open up the second wave of earning an income with team cycle bonus, which is capitalizing on the volume that's being created underneath of you. So not just like your volume that you're bringing in and your sales that you're bringing in, but also like what your team's doing and what this big, huge team is doing. And then the third way is quarterly bonuses. So as you start to mentor your coaches and you start to build a team and you start to have other coaches that are building teams, then you can start earning some quarterly bonuses that are really fun. And then Cece and I just got to experience trips too. Trips are really fun. Danielle had a trip. She hosted a trip in Hawaii for her team. Cece and I got to go to St. Croix for a team trip. So we have team sponsored trips that you can earn for different goals being met in your business. And then we also have corporate and Beachbody sponsored trips. So we'll be going to, Austin in July for our coach summit that our team is hosting. That's normally hosted by Beachbody. Some of us have already earned a trip next, is it April? Where are we going in April? Punta Cana. We've been to Mexico. We've all taken our families on a cruise, Harmony of the Seas, like one of the big cruise ships. Beachbody took over the cruise ship and we were able to treat our families to that. And it's just really fun. And the community is like nothing that I've ever experienced before. Cece and I were on our team call last night, and just to see these women and see women coming together to lift each other up. Because I will tell you guys, being in healthcare, corporate healthcare, it's not a lift each other up and let's share best practices and help each other out and say, atta girl. It's like, I'm doing my own thing and you figure it out on your own. So I've never experienced a community like this where rising tide lifts all ships and we're better together and no woman left behind. And we just lean into the community and lift each other up. And I would not have people like Cece and Danielle in my life unless I got over my own excuses and said yes. So, but happy to answer any questions about the financial aspect of this in the chat. And Cece's gonna take us to the next level.
I love that. It truly is the community. And I will say, even though I started this and my story is really one of like total stay-at-home mom isolation when I started, even though I was so isolated and lonely and depressed and, doing nothing but, being with 3 kids all day, I didn't really even know I needed this community. It is not anything, I had my best friends that I grew up with. I had a play group with other moms in my neighborhood. I had a couple neighbors I was close to. My husband was my best friend. I thought I was good. I really thought I was good and that I didn't need this community. And I can't even properly put it into words what this community has done for me. Over the past, I've been a coach for 5.5, almost 6 years, and it saves me time and time again, time and time again, no matter if it's, you know, something tragic like losing a family member, or if it's just stress, or if it's you know, big life events, or, you know, good, bad, the ugly, like whatever it is, like this team, this community saves me time and time again. So really quickly, I'll fly through my story, and then I will talk about what I am most passionate about, and that is how we're different, and just again, more about our community. So anyway, I'm 48. I still have a hard time. I don't really have a hard time saying that, because I truly feel like I've never looked better. I've never felt better. I've never been stronger. I've never been more comfortable, confident, happy. Like I found inner peace. Like there are all these crazy things happening. And I'm like, you know, 48, you know, it's actually pretty good. But when I started, I really was a shell of a person. I was 42. In a nutshell, like Danielle mentioned, I was in really severe chronic pain. I had herniated a disc in my low back with the birth of my third child. And he was born premature and sent home with an apnea monitor. So I didn't have time to, you know, worry about myself. And so I lived in this excruciating pain for several months. Finally went and got an MRI, and that started about 3.5 years of chronic pain, where even if I wasn't in physical pain, the fear and the darkness of what if the pain comes back? What if I can't protect my children? What if I can't lift my children? What if I can't be a good mom? What, like all those horrible what ifs were almost worse than the chronic pain, because again, I was unhappy, depressed, anxious, and every time the pain came back, it sent me down a spiral and another spiral, until I started all this in the summer of 2015. And in addition to the chronic back problems, I started having chronic stomach problems. So I really, health wise, even though I was 42 and relatively thin, I was a mess. I was an absolute mess on the inside, my gut, my back, my entire system, my entire wellness, my entire mental health, everything really hit rock bottom. And all I saw was an acquaintance who happened to be Jen's sister-in-law. I saw her post something, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it. She didn't show her abs. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, I want to look like that. I saw this glow coming from her. And I just had this moment where I thought, like, if I could just have a little bit of her energy, if I could have a little bit of her like zest for life. And she also was an entrepreneur. And I grew up, I'm an only child, single mom. My mom was an entrepreneur. She was a mompreneur before that word ever even existed. And so I grew up with her, you know, putting her blood, sweat, and tears into all these different businesses. And it was a roller coaster of a childhood. I mean, so many ups and downs with just, you know, businesses thriving, businesses failing, in debt, you know, not in debt, like just all the craziness of owning your own business. And so I actually became an adult, and I was in social work for my 20s, because I thought, I do not want to have anything to do with business. I am not a business person. I want to save the world. And I thought I was going to become a therapist. I thought I was going to be a social worker. I wanted to work with abused and neglected children. I wanted to like do all this stuff to save the world. And then I got to 30 and I was flat broke and in so much debt. And so then I was like, okay, I'll check out business. And so then I went into educational publishing, which really didn't fulfill me or do anything. And then I ended up getting married, having babies, and stopped working. So when I started coaching, gosh, I don't think I'd had a job in 6 or 7 years. And like I said, I'd hit rock bottom with my health. And I just saw something in my coach that I thought, if I could just get a little bit of that, that's what I want. And within 4 days, I call it my day 4 magical moment, I felt better than I had in years. I had energy. I didn't nap that day. I just, the as crazy as it sounds, like it was this teeny tiny spark that started this huge, huge shift and change for me. And it was just with a very teeny tiny what if. I had been in, chronic pain for 3.5 years, and all of what ifs were really, really horrific. What if I have to have surgery? What if I don't survive? What if I can't do this? What if I'm a terrible mom? What if, my husband leaves me? What if, like, all these horrible, horrible what ifs. And on that day 4, this teeny tiny little positive what if popped into my brain. And it was like, what if life ain't over at 42? And then every day that I woke up and showed up for myself and I went to the group, another positive what if happened. And it was just this huge compound effect of every day I was waking up and I was like, what if this works? What if? So that finally one day I was like, there are other women like me, and I haven't mentioned this yet. I hate exercise. I love junk food. Like I have zero background in health and fitness. I just told you my background is in social services and publishing. Like, look in my high school annual and it says least likely to do anything with health and fitness, truly, because like I was always the lazy couch potato. I was always the one saying life's too short, let's order more dessert. Like always the one just like, yeah. And then it's not that it caught up with me, but then I just had this epiphany after epiphany after epiphany that life could be different and that I could have that glow that I saw from that acquaintance on Facebook. And it just all snowballed. And again, I didn't have any background. I didn't have any experience. So also know, like Jen said, like she didn't have any time. She worked full time. Like, there's so many excuses that you can hear and say, like, I don't have enough time. There are so many full-time coaches that do this. There are mamas, there are women who wake up at 3:30 in the morning to work for an hour and a half before they work for their second business and then go into a full-time job and get their kids ready for school. And then, Danielle, who was still on a journey, like you don't have to be at the end of a journey because there is no such thing, and you don't have to have any kind of experience. I have built a business from the conviction of what happened to me on day 4, and it was just that shift that happened, and something in me opened up, and I continued to let the other shifts in and it just kind of grew, and so on and so on and so on. And then I was just so excited that, oh my gosh, like I'm not scared of pain anymore. I'm not in pain anymore. Not only am I not in pain, but I feel really good. I healed my stomach. Like everything was changing for me. And I just wanted to pay it forward. And so like Danielle said, I've never thought I was selling. I have never, ever once ever felt like I was selling, because I approached this from such a place of conviction that this actually saved my life. That day 4 saved my life. And the amazing thing that keeps happening that I talked a little bit about when I first started just with the community, it saves me time and time again. Time and time again, it saves me. And it may not be a physical thing, but what it saves me from now, which is probably even more important, is the stuff that happens up here. It saves me from myself. It saves me from the limiting beliefs and the self-doubt and the negativity and the old habits and patterns that have existed for 42 years. That, am I breaking them? Am I changing them? Am I making new connections in my brain? Absolutely. But also, when the going gets tough, your brain goes right back to what it knows. And it is this team, it is this community that is full of positivity, that is full of women who want more, who don't accept average, that push me past my fears and limitations. That's what helps me save myself every day. And we've mentioned that we were just on a trip, and I think about, like, I was sending text messages home to my husband, and sometimes I feel bad even sending him messages home, because I know he is like, and I told him one day, I said, I went snorkeling. I swam in the ocean for longer than I ever have in my life. I tried seafood. Like, there were all these things that I was doing. And my husband was like, who are you? I don't even recognize you. But it's this team of women that truly, truly, and I was skeptical of this because, like I said, I don't think I needed the community. I didn't think that I needed any kind of connection. Like, I have my good friends, I have my neighbors, I have my play group. Like, I don't really need anything. Um, but turns out, um, you really change your life so much when you surround yourself with positive women who are driven, who are accepting, who are encouraging, who are inspiring. And, it's just unbelievable what you can do when you just push those limiting beliefs and those limits a little bit. So, I'm going to wrap up now and just really quickly, like, I've touched on it, and it's so hard to put into words sometimes how this is different and why we are different. And what I see so often is this spark and this sparkle in women. And what happens when they come in and they just start to share it, and they come from such a place of authenticity, is you then give other women permission to shine. You give other women permission to be authentic and true to themselves. And coaching has been the most amazing, beautiful stepping stone that I have never even could imagine. Like, did I want to run my business one day and kind of follow in my mom's footsteps? Sure. I married an entrepreneur, as luck has it. We own a business together, and it is a 6-figure business that we owe money on, and it closed down because of COVID, and it was stressful, and it was crazy that like what I thought was such a huge creative outlet for me that would be a legacy for my children and allow me to do so much for them and for my family, actually has existed with coaching all along. You have the benefit of having $1 billion company back you up with programming and resources and training and heart, so much heart. But then you have the freedom and the flexibility to put your touch on it, to put your creativity on it. All three of us have a very different brand. And if you go and look at our social media, you don't see products, you don't see Beachbody, you don't see anything salesy or cheesy. It is us sharing from a very true, authentic place of, my life has changed. I'm paying it forward to other women. Danielle is very passionate about nutrition and how do I say this? God. I don't know the best way to say that. And then Jen is so passionate about helping busy mamas focus on themselves. And we all just went through mindset coaching certification together. And truly, this is a stepping stone, and you get to decide what it leads you to. And the thing that I see time and time again is that the women who come in and just kind of are open and just, like willing and open to see where it leads you, it really is unbelievable the places that it can take you. So we don't really talk about this too much. I'll touch on it really briefly, but no matter if you're ready to come in and run with us and start your own business and yes, I am ready to build a 6-figure business. I want a team of my own. I want to do all the things, whether that's you or if you're there's something intriguing about the community. There's something that I need for myself. I can't quite put my finger on, and I'm being drawn to this, to anything in between. There is a place for our team. There's a place for you here. There's a place for you in our community. And I lost my train of thought, but where was I going with that? But there's just a place for everybody, no matter what. And we hold your hand, no matter what your goals are. If your goals are just, I need to focus on myself, or your goals are, hey, I'm ready to build a 6-figure business, we hold your hand, we mentor you, we help you through it, we support you. And it's just such an amazing way to grow a business, because you have the support, the mentorship, the training, the camaraderie, the sisterhood, the cheering squad, everything. But it's your own business that you're building with your own spin, and it's a stepping stone to so many amazing, beautiful things, including friendships and better health and financial, I can't say financial, just freedom. And all kinds of amazingness. So we're happy to answer any questions that y'all have. If you do have any questions about anything, about the business, about the challenger side of things, no matter if you come in to coach or you come in to work on yourself, we really do start you off all in the same place. And that is because, like I said, I had my day 4 magical moment. Whether I was building a business or not, that day 4 magical moment is where the shift happened. So even if you come in and you're like, yes, I want to build a business, don't really know what that means, don't know what it looks like, but I want to build a business, we still start you focusing on yourself so that you can develop the conviction that this is something that helps people and it is a service that you can provide and you can bring others along with you. And it's not about, selling or anything that feels inauthentic to what you want to do.
Yeah, totally. Thank you, Cece. And that's, I
Mhm.
think it's interesting too. I don't know that anybody on this call is, but we've done other calls before like this where there have been fitness professionals and things like that. And I remember I got off of a call like this where, a girl that I had invited to it was she's a fitness instructor, and she was like, okay, that's cool, but like, I don't have to do all that, right? Like I could just go and like start my own boot camp and sell it. And I'm like, well, you could, but my guess is you're not going to be very effective. And what ended up happening is that she loved the community. She was like, this is not at all what is in the fitness like industry out there. She's like, the camaraderie, I mean, that's not really the right word, but the sisterhood, the encouragement, the just all of that is not, it doesn't exist outside of this thing that we've created. And it's pretty incredible. And so I love that. I love that you're able to see and get results. Everybody from super pro fitness girl can get results with this to, I have a lady in my group right now who's 67 years old and is absolutely killing it. And then she's like, I am so healthy. She's like, I think I'm healthier now than I was when I was 30, and it's just exciting to see the depth of what we do and how much we can help a person change based on their individual needs. So thank you, Jen. Thank you, Cece. Thank you guys for hopping on. I hope everybody, I feel like I haven't given a chance, but if you have a question, just unmute yourself. You don't have to be shy. It's a small group of us here. And there's no question that's off the table. I mean, I don't think I can stop recording if somebody needs to talk about financials and needs exact things. So,
I'm an open book. We're all open books.
I have no problem, but I also know that that can be a touchy subject for people. So, I can't. So now that we're restricted from talking about it, I'm like, oh, the things that I want to say, and
I know. And if whether you're on this call or you are watching the replay, just take a moment when you hop off to reach out to whoever invited you and share your thoughts, talk about like if you do have any questions, concerns, or anything, but reach out to whoever invited you and just share where you are, because I guarantee like we've walked through so much fear and doubt and so much questioning and we've just been there. We've really been there. I mean, I am there like all day long, and these women walk me through it and help me through it. So all I can say is I am so grateful I am still here and that I've weathered all of the questions and everything, because what it has brought me is just life-changing and truly life-saving. Like it's not an exaggeration when I say that this team, this community, this experience saves me time and time and time again.
Same, man. I tell you, you had said something that resonated with me, and it's just that there isn't a part of my life that this hasn't impacted. And I know that that always sounds cliche and it's like, okay, yeah, I get it. But really, my marriage was not in a good place. I was not the same mother I am today and all of that. And I know it sounds silly, like, okay, cool. That came from a 25-minute workout and and a nutritional shake. Good for you. But it genuinely exposed me to growth and changed my heart and my head and really opened me up to realizing I didn't know everything, which I'm, if you're an Enneagram person, like I'm an Enneagram 8 and thought I knew everything about everything. And newsflash, I did not know everything and I still don't know everything. But now I know that I'm willing to learn. And I have this incredible depth of resources at my fingertips. So it's pretty incredible. And yeah, I love that, leading by example for our kids and showing our kids how to lead a healthy lifestyle. I mean, that's why I started this. I mean, honestly. So I won't want to keep you guys. I know it's getting late on the East Coast. So thank you, thank you, thank you for coming tonight. Like Cece said, please reach out to your coach. And like, even if this isn't for you, say, hey, that was dumb. I don't like that. That girl Danielle, she talks too much. You can say that. They won't tell me or screenshot it, I promise. No, but really, thank you guys for coming out. Thank you for your time and attention. And I really look forward to seeing you all on one of our teams at the near future. So, all right.
All right,
Good night,
guys.
everybody.
Have a good night.
Bye.